Dios mío, what a banger! That's how we got to start off this Challengers League for the summer split, right, y'all? We had exciting picks, and yet the only thing that actually mattered was just Zeri all over again. It
never left.
It never left. You know, it's another Zeri moment. Always has been, right? You know, just the clock on left. Oh my god. Anyway, Zeri, Trinity Force, you know, it doesn't matter what mythic she's building. It seems like Freak will always find a way to make sure that Zeri is on top. But
so, ban Zeri, please. I just don't want to. I'll be honest.
If you're not playing the Zeri, you better get rid of the Zeri.
Right, exactly.
You know?
If you're not going to first pick it, ban it. That's my thought process.
I will say, you know, the Karthus, the Garen, even the Amumu coming back in the jungle. There's a lot of exciting stuff. I'm super down to
and all of it doesn't matter. Not a single bit of it matters, Mark.
Well, you know what? It does
not matter. See the book?
It's the spice that counts, y'all. We got to make sure that they get to know. Also, before we get into our Rally Cry halftime show, as we are waiting on the second game draft select, I want to give a quick shout out. Guys, the subs are pouring in. Thank you so much. First, there's 205 subs currently on LCS.
Shout out to Kelsey and Tizza.
500 for subs on both channels. Kelsey Moser has donated a ton on both channels. Thank you so much. I think it's about 60 on LCS Challengers.
Mark, I got something for you. Hey, if you're out there and you're wondering if you should subscribe, you know what you could do if you don't have money? Twitch Prime. It's free. You can do it right now. Just go ahead, hit that Twitch Prime. It gets you emotes for free. It supports the players. It supports the league. Why not do it? Just go ahead. Do it!
Also, Tiza Tryhard also dropping 50 subs in the chat. Thank you so much. All right. Anyway, so much love for all these players and all the teams, and for the just supporting the entire Challengers League and the ecosystem and semi-pro here in North America. That's what it's all about. But now let's get into our Rally Cry halftime show. This one is a little simple. It's who is that player, but it's a team history edition, y'all.
Oh God! I just threw the book away.
You have to do it off the noggin now, Alex.
That's right. Unfortunately, Alex, this is not an open book quiz. This is going to be straight from that noggin.
You wouldn't have even known. It would have been off camera.
I have 2 monitors, Mark. Every quiz is an open book quiz.
Hey, no cheating. Hey, come on. We gotta. Now, the way that this is going to work is that I'm going to start listing off previous teams that this player has played on. If you can get it off the first team, I'll give you 5 points.
Wow.
If I need to give you 2 teams, it's 3 points.
I'm screwed. Okay.
If I need to give you 3 teams, it's 2 points. And then I'm going to give you the last team, and that'll only be 1 point. So
they've all been on exactly 4 teams.
Yep. Something like that. Something like that. All right. Let's get
5 because of the current team.
Are they important question. Are they in chronological order?
No.
No.
I'm trying to go with the team that you would, least expect.
Can we guess every time?
Yes, you can guess every time. but you only get 1 guess. You only get 1 guess. So that's
per new team, or
yes, per new team.
Okay.
Cool. Per new team. Yeah.
I know.
Okay.
I mean, Mark and Josh were just sweating right there, like, wait.
Oh, you're
what?
like, oh, do I want
I'm just gonna wait for the last one every time.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. You know, that would be pretty fun. Anyway, let's get into our first one. This player played on third party.
Zamuto.
Oh my God! Yes! Mad Magical! Straight off the dome!
Literally, I don't think anyone else in this the series has played.
Third party! Yeah. Holy camole!
I'll be honest, I probably would have guessed that because I'm like, this guy's new. I have not heard of third party. It must have come in after I started paying more attention to Challengers League.
Man! Oh my God!
Chilling Wolves?
Yeah.
Oh, I would not. If Chilling Wolves, if he was on Chilling Wolves.
Yeah.
I would not have gotten that one.
All right. Well, okay. Well, I'm going to keep track here. Alex,
that's 5. Dang.
Yeah. Straight off the top.
That probably wins, like, right off the bat.
Oh, my God. Well, Josh, you are in deep doo-doo, my friend. Yeah. You got some dookie to deal with.
This kind of thing. Okay.
All right. Next one. This player played for Dawn Esports.
Dawn.
Let's go with...
All right, I'll guess first. I want Keel.
Nope.
No.
I'm gonna go with Concept.
Nope.
All right, okay.
All right. Second team. Played for Mirage Esports.
Mirage and Dawn.
Breezy.
Nope.
Dark Wings.
Nope.
Oh.
All right, then I think I know.
All right. Third team. Dignitas Academy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh? Oh.
Yeah, you
Will.
should know this. Yeah, that's like...
Yeah.
Joshi.
I was being fair because I guessed first last time, and I was gonna let you guess first this time, just so we go back and forth.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be unfair about
I
that.
was about to be like, wait, I already said Dark Wings. No, Will did have that crazy run in Proving Grounds a while back. Yeah.
That's why I didn't like. I figured it out on the previous clue after I had guessed Breezy because Will was my backup.
Yeah, fair.
And so that's why once he said that, I'm like, I know who it is.
Okay.
Nice.
All right, well, it is
that-
within spitting distance.
Yeah,
Yes,
you
it is.
now have 2 points, Josh, and Alex still has 5.
Nice.
Next player.
Okay.
This player played on Lotus Esports.
Oh,
Lotus.
well, you can go first, I suppose.
I'll go with Breezy.
Nope.
No. I'm gonna go with Keel.
Nope.
No.
You're just gonna guess Keel until
I
it's
would
it.
guess Keel. Keel's been on a lot of teams, dude.
He has.
Next team. Team Fish Taco.
Taco. I guess I'm first.
Yeah.
Ooh, I think that's Concept.
Nope.
No? Dang. Professor, what have you got for us?
Professor Wielden
Professor!
I'll go with Lynx.
Nope.
Nope.
It's not Lynx.
Uh-oh.
Third team. AOE Ginger Turmeric.
Oh, Duo King.
Nope.
No.
Oh.
You should be able to get this.
No.
No. Can I just say?
no.
Can I say before you say it?
This is gonna count as 1 point.
Yeah. It's gonna be Lens then.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh.
It was either Duo King or Lens. Once he said AOE Ginger Turmeric, I'm like, it's one of those two.
All right. Okay.
Damn.
That puts
I
Alex
told you
at
I'm so
6
bad at
points. Josh, you're still at dose.
Okay, so if I can get on the first one, I have a chance.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, just keep guessing Keel. You know,
Just keep
maybe it'll
guessing
work.
Keel. Eventually, it'll be right.
What if I never even put Keel into the pool?
It's a possibility,
You know?
but I'm gonna do Josh a favor by never guessing Keel, just so he has that chance.
Okay. All right. First team. This guy played for Western University.
Lynx.
Oh my goodness!
Damn.
There it is.
Yeah. There you go.
Yep.
GG. Well played. It was Josh. It was good game. Good game. Good game.
That was the only one where I was like, yeah, I actually know this one.
GG's well played. GG's well played.
That was good, right?
y'all
You even
know
tried to
your
describe
player
it instead of
history.
calling it Uwo.
Oh, maybe Alex had the sauce on you
He had the
today,
sauce.
Josh. But it's
Nah,
okay.
Alex is good at these games. I have a really bad memory for these games.
Yeah, I do. Now,
I pay
for what
attention
it's
to the
worth,
players.
we had answers for all 10 players, but we are out of time. So that means Magical is our winner. Chicken
Woo!
dinner. Good job, married man, and taking down Josh. That's 2 dubs in 1 week. Let's go.
I have to ask Joey about that second part.
Okay. Anyway,
Dub for me.
game 2, champ select. Take it away, gentlemen.
All right, let's get ready for our second game because I am ready after game 1. Our first game back after the break with all the changes that we've had for the NACL. What a way to start it off, Josh. What an exciting game that we got to watch. And now we get to see how the draft is going to be for this one. And I really want to see if there is going to be that adaptation. And really for Wildcard, it's do you lock in Zeri first or do you ban it?
That's a good question, right? We do see the melee ban coming through for Wildcard. They don't want to be the ones that have to pick it. And Duo King, he was fine on the champion, right? But unfortunately, it wasn't able to have a big impact on the rest of the game just because that's not what I mean, the character was really trying to do. They were not able to bully Lynx and Breezy enough, and instead, like, Melio is okay at the scaling department, but really, with that extra range, is so difficult to deal with early on.
With the Yuumi ban too, I feel like AOE are expecting that Zeri to be first picked by Wildcard at this moment because Melio's banned, and Melio Aphelios is a lane that can get a lot of advantages over Zeri Yuumi. We saw that in the last game, that even though Lynx and Breezy eventually were able to get that to that point, that quadra kill early on for Lynx, it was a long time. It was a good 13 minutes where he's just like, I don't get to play the game at all for a long time.
Yeah, and when you put people behind, it's very difficult for them to kind of come back from those positions. But as we look at this, it is going to be the Gragas. This was piloted by Soligo last game, but Wildcard is known for having crazy flex picks. There's a bunch of players. I'm sure Zamuto and NACL can both play this character as well. And AOE, after Wildcard was hovering it, are going to be locking in the Aphelios for Lynx, and also picking up the Vi for Will coming through. So lots of opportunities to be aggressive, and we have seen that Lynx loves playing this Aphelios very aggressively.
Yeah, so we know that Lynx is a very aggressive player, but his positioning is really good as well. Len's a player that we got to see how aggressive he was last game. The flash over the wall to try to chase down that kill on to Darkwings that barely didn't work because the clutch stopwatch by Darkwings. But Will locking in this Vi. And Will as a player, we talk about Keel and how Keel is a player who loves to play more of these AP junglers. Will is very much the opposite. He is an AD jungler, early, aggressive, more about how he can engage these fights on these champions. And that's why I called out the Wukong that he played last year so often. And it seems that Vi is really fitting that role that he had previously on 100 Thieves Academy. Much more about setting up the fights for the team, getting into the SPAC line, especially with someone who is very immobile like Jinx, is a perfect target for Will.
Yeah, and a cool combo also coming out from Wildcard at the same time, right? Even though you cannot use the Lamb's Respite while you are suppressed, if you do get it off before Vi actually impacts you, then you also have the ultimate coming out from the Gragas to knock everybody on the other team outside that so you can actually kill them. So it's a great combination coming through from Wildcard, but we do have the same combination coming through from AOE that we saw in Game 1. The Vi for Will, the Ahri for Darkwings, and we saw a couple of times how devastating that combination can actually be, and I'm kind of expecting that we'll probably see something fairly similar, right? Soligo with some small advantages going into the lane, but Darkwings eventually picking it up with the combination with his jungler. And as we start seeing the second round of bans, the big thing that we're going to have to look at is what is King going to be playing alongside Lens. The Senna has been banned away. They're also well known for playing the Sona.
Sona is kind of like the fallback. Soraka too for Duo King. A lot of these champions that themselves also scale really well to help back up Lens on this Jinx, and having the Kindred as well. Another thing that you can start scaling up into the game with. Look far more around these team fights. Well, Wildcard are saying we're going to hold off on that for now. We're going to take away what we had a difficult time with in that Garen, which I wonder if it's the Karthus again that we could possibly see here, especially because Braum was the final ban for AoE.
Yeah, Braum's an interesting one, right? Trying to open up things like the Nautilus, I'm guessing, which was one of Breezy's favorite characters throughout his career thus far. But as we do look at... Okay, we're back. As we do look at what it is that we are going to be picking from this position, AoE, they have some engage tools, but I really want to kind of see even more range tools for them to kind of play with, right? Because you are going to be looking at the engage going to be very difficult into both the Gragas and the Kindred.
Well, here we go. Something that is good at committing to the engages, Breezy onto Nautilus. See, I was thinking, like, okay, something that can have good long-range engage. At first, I was thinking maybe the Renata Glosk. That's something that Breezy has been playing very well as well. But having something like that depth charge that can follow up Link's Lens wherever he goes on Jinx is a really good tool. But I like this Alistar 2 from Duo King, something that can kind of body block a lot of this engage, especially because Keel, not on that Amumu, isn't going to be able to fill that role like we had seen in those previous fights. And whoa, okay, this is an interesting pick because that is a classic Soligo pick.
That is a classic Soligo pick, which says that Zamuto very likely to be playing the Gragas. The Lissandra can also survive and attack the mid lane based on who actually gets the jump. But it is worth noting, as the Alistar does come through, Riot has been shadow buffing this champion for basically a year at this point. Like, you know, it feels like every other patch you see it pop in again as the Olaf is going to get picked up for Concept. And there's a lot of tools. There's a lot of crowd control now on the side of Wildcard that Concept is just simply going to ignore. AOE have picked a composition where they are going to be firing on all cylinders. They're going to be going directly towards you, and that's going to be creating a situation where Wildcard really need to be careful about the way that they take these fights because they need to get that first kill. They get that first kill, Jinx is resetting. You get the frozen thralls coming up from Lysandra. It's very hard for AOE to win once the first death happens.
I do like that a lot for AOE, though. A lot of this is about engage, going and fighting Lens, and never letting him have any respite in these fights. And like you said, it's going to be really on Soligo, and I think a lot on Zamuto as well, in creating a lot of space, utilizing that explosive cast properly to make sure they can disperse all these diving members of AOE. Because unlike last game, where a lot of that game for AOE, the game plan was on Zeri, this game is kind of like, Lynx, sorry, you're on your own, buddy. We're gonna ditch you. Everyone is going to ditch you as we look for these fights.
They're peeling for him by having too many threats, right? It's a threat overload. Like, how do you kill all of these different people? Lynx is probably public enemy #1 for a Wildcard as we look at it. But as we've already kind of looked at from this one, I'm actually expecting that Zamuto is going to have to go a little bit more AP, more magic damage coming out because, as we've said many, many times, Jinx without a reset is okay. Jinx with a reset is the best champion in the entire game. And that's one of the things that Wildcard is going to be needing to look at. So, who was it? Oh, our favorite LCS rat, Manny Sanchez. He's also talked about like what happens when the Nautilus starts falling behind, right? You just die a lot. He played against Vulcan in solo queue, went 0-25. So, wow. Breezy needs to be very careful about the fights that they actually start picking off, because if he goes down first, he's going to go down second and third and fourth and fifth.
Yeah, it is the Nautilus problem where you can go 0-8 very quickly, or 0-25 if you're Manny. One of the two. One of the two, but it is also something that can be categorized for Alistar as well, for Duo King. Something that you have to be very careful when you look for your engages, because when you don't have your Unbreakable Will, you are very squishy. You think you're really tanky as Alistar all the time, but it's really when you have your ult up and available.
Yeah. There's some true damage as well to get through the tankiness from Duo King. We'll see if it ends up coming into effect. But we set up the day expecting to talk a lot about Will and Keel, but we haven't necessarily been focusing on them as much because of how much auto-attacking Soligo's doing in this early lane, but also because it was a game that was so much about Zamuto and Lynx. This is one where the early pathing from Keel is going to be paramount, because you always got to get some of those stacks. It is way easier to track a Kindred than a lot of other junglers, because you know they're going to be going for those targets.
I think it's also a lot on Will, too, like how he works with Darkwings, because we already see that Darkwings is struggling into this lane against Soligo, and this is Soligo's classic pick, the pick that when in doubt, you lock in Soligo's Lysandra. It's something that he does so well, and people always talk about how Lysandra has low damage, she doesn't do much. And then I watch Soligo play it, and I'm like, what?
Feels like a different champion.
It really does, because he does so much damage and is so impactful with the lockdown. And I like this from Keel, this really clever pathing to camp to this gank top.
Yeah, doesn't have the E for the extra damage, but already showcasing where they are.
Ghost from Concept, flashed in with a body slam. Concept realizing that he's not going to be able to fight this one back, has to gift this one over. The burn for Keel, picks up first blood.
And we were talking about how predictable it oftentimes is where the jungler of a Kindred is going to be going. Instead, going in a very unusual route, picking up the Krugs, the red, and then going top lane as well. I mean, as a top laner, that's just one of those like, well, yeah, I guess, like, good path. There's not a whole lot that Concept can really do to kind of predict that one.
No, not at all. You're kind of just like, why is he here level 2? Why does he have red buff? And Duo King is trying to cut the wave the best he can. Will heal up just in time. What a clutch passive right there for Duo King, because I'm pretty sure that Lynx would have flashed in for one more auto attack had that not happened.
Yeah, I honestly just having a headbutt and the awareness to go for the minion that was underneath the turret. I mean, that's just the kind of mastery that you see on some of these characters. But AOE has been looking for these opportunities to try and fire back. They are already putting some of the hurt down onto Wildcard early on, but they've also burned through most of Lynx's mana, so it's going to be harder to do that on the second fight around. And Will just now coming over to this side of the fight in order to try and lock down some of the Raptors that Keel has left over while going for the top side.
Yeah, just getting some sort of advantage, utilizing as well that they know that Kill has got to be clearing up on all the top half in order to keep up even with Will, since you are the Kindred up against Vi and you went for such an early gank. Well, it's nice. You get that early stack for Kindred. Vi is still Vi, and Vi clears fast.
Yeah, and is also clearing out a lot of these camps, right? Will knows exactly what camps Kill would have done in order to try and make that. Yeah, picking up these Krugs. This is a lot of money that Will is picking back up for themselves, and there's no response coming through on the side of Wildcard, as both bottom lanes will be backing away. But even with Will picking up all of these camps, it's basically just like putting them in an even position across the rest of the map. And as we take a look at that, it is worth noting that still Celigo on this classic champion is brutalizing Darkwings here in the mid lane. Darkwings was a player that I was a little bit concerned about, right? Because they became really clutch during their tenure previously and now has no HP as Keel comes around.
Keel hovering around mid lane with low mana on Darkwings. And a decent
Celigo,
wave. But he's got no mana either. Celigo doesn't really have enough. But with Duo King here, should be able to help out pick up the skill to flash away. Does not help save the life of Darkwings.
Just super, super clean coming through from Keel as they pick up another kill. And I feel like it's early to say, but I feel like we're headed towards a 1-1, a draw coming out between these two teams in the back half as Keel, even though they're not picking up all the farm, that's the second kill in a row. I believe that's the second mark that they picked up off the bat as well.
No mark on that one.
No mark.
It was not a mark, so unfortunately wasn't able to get that second mark. You really do want to get to the 4 mark as fast as possible as Kindred so you can feel like a champion.
Yep.
Keel, hey, 2 kills early on into the game. Still going to feel great, especially when you look at these lanes. Look at top lane. How much Zamuto is getting control over concept after that early gank that they got. Now mid lane, Celigo was already winning out pretty heavily against Darkwings prior. And now they get an early Spirit Rush out of Darkwing, so he's going to be very susceptible since he does not have Flash since he burned it last time around.
Oh, Zamuto.
Zamuto, gotta be careful. You can't fight an Olaf when he's low like that, bud.
Yeah, I mean, some cool mechanical things coming out from Zamuto, but it doesn't matter when your opponent is just swinging for the fences.
But he's just Olaf and he's low health, and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I do know that as Concept does pick up the solo kill, one of the things that we saw previously, good charm, was that Zamuto was helping out. I was playing in a rec league, and Zamuto was helping out our top laner quite a bit. He really focuses on a lot of those small interactions.
Yeah, it's small interactions, and then you get stat checked.
Yeah, you know, it only goes so far. You know, when you know all the cool mechanical things you can do, it's like, oh, that guy hurts.
Yeah, that guy hurts, and now Concept gonna come back into lane. Has got himself a Vampire Scepter. Will help out AOE, so now they have some point of power, but mid lane is still struggling. Darkwing, no flash, no dash, no hope.
That's another kill getting picked up by Keel as he is rampaging across the map, but still the Dragon gets picked up here for AOE, and Keel knows the jungler is there, but doesn't know Concept. Oh, okay, does know now.
Knows now, saw the ward. Will have the benefit of Celigo. He could have easily rotated around. They don't realize that he has backed off. But look at this. Ooh, Breezy. He's been spotted out mid lane. Concept knows Keel's there. Getting a lot of damage as Breezy on the other side can lock him down for long enough for Concept to be able to show up. He's only level 5. That's a lot of damage. He should be able to pick up a support kill regardless.
I mean, that's some nice gold that'll make Breezy way tankier than he was expecting to be, and it also slows down a lot. But as we see on the other side of the map, Lens and Duo King having way more success here on the Jinx plus Alistar, but Will's coming down bot.
Spotted out by the ward. Know that there's something happening because Link's popped Ghost. You're like, okay, something's fishy here. Something's going on. That's going to be Moonlight Vigil. Looking for a lot of damage onto Lens. Flash as well. Duo King. Beautiful use of that Headbutt Pulverize combo to make sure that nobody could chase down. Now that Breezy has rotated all the way back, they could look to replicate this, but they gotta be careful because Keel is nearby. Depth charge. Oh, he doesn't have it yet. He's only level 5. Not even gonna burn it. Just gonna wait out and get some plates for Lynx.
And a good counter swing as well coming through, right? As you were saying, the plates coming through, it was looking like Wildcard was just going to bully Lynx off the turret entirely, but a huge effort. Darkwings moves down, Will moves down. They get both flashes. And we didn't see this a whole lot in game 1, but Will and Darkwings, they were focusing on the lane. They didn't necessarily move around the rest of the map nearly as much to create those opportunities to just blow up one of the sides. Still, in the mid lane, Darkwings still trying to find their way off the ground. Now, I do want to take you back a little bit, Alex, to game 1. It's a very long time ago, I know. Darkwings had 2 deaths early and never died the rest of the game. Keel is level 5.
Level 6 on the other side, but Will had already used cease and desist to try to look for a play earlier. They actually took the claw at Soligo. You got to be careful as Olaf almost healed up just in time. Now with the charm of flash away, barely did not connect onto Soligo. So 2 kills for Wildcard and the Rift Herald on top of it.
Yeah, and Darkwing tries to get that little bit of extra damage, but so far 4 kills for Keel, and now Duoking comes to support his mid laner as well. Wildcard just feels like they are moving a little bit better around the map. The only question that we will have is, like, Will hit level 6? Will be hitting these level spikes faster, but as soon as Keel actually gets their own level 6, it kind of doesn't matter because they will be able to stand and deliver during all of these fights.
There it is. Got level 6 for Keel, and that's going to help out a lot. We have a 2,000 gold lead, Rift Herald on top of it for Wildcard. But what does AOE do on the other side of the map to try to make up for it? They have cease and desist for Will.
Dive.
You can look for the dive on to Lens, because guess who's here, but no flash. You're waiting for the minions to crash in before they look for the dive. I like this. Dive. Awooga. Lens gonna be the first one to die. Does not get the reset, but it is traded back and could get more because Will now in danger as Zamuto had teleported all the way down here. Trying to look for some side steps, but slowed down. The burn from Red Buff was able to get aggro out of the turret.
And a perfect play up on the top side as well, as Keel is going to get all of the farm that Zamuto is giving up. They're not losing any resources across the map. Great opportunity from Wildcard, knowing that AOE was kind of forced into this dive, and they just pick it up right off the bat. So this goal is continuing to grow for Wildcard as they just stifle everything that AOE has been looking to do. I think the big difference right here is the fact that Will being forced to use the Q just to get over the wall now doesn't have that extra bit of damage to kill Lens. He survives for way too long, and Breezy and Lynx just tanking up the turret the entire time.
And Zamuto, as you called out, because he TP'd down here, normally you're like, okay, you're going to be in danger of losing so much. Well, Keel went top lane, got all that farm. So where he was in a position that Will at least was out farming him and outpacing him, you now have 4 kills on this Kindred, plus starting to close that distance in CS.
As we start looking at the next objective as well, right? As we are seeing Keel getting more and more farm, we have a dragon spawning in 30 seconds. And interestingly enough, it looks as though Wildcard not particularly interested in going for that, right? Lens is on the other side of the map, doesn't have a completed item, whereas Lynx would be fighting it with a Storm Razor. And AoE, I mean, both teams content to send their duo lane towards the top side, not as interested in actually going for the fight, and just leaving their solo laners and jugglers to deal with it.
Said possibly looking for those plates to help out Lens, because while that play did work out better for Wildcard previously, Lynx was able to get a kill, and Lens had died. So they don't have that, like you said, that Storm Razor edge that Lynx had. But they could look to try to make up for it. They gotta pop that Rift Herald soon. I think it's about to expire. Waiting for it, watching it, waiting.
I don't know. I think they got a little bit of time left. We will see as Wildcard are going for round 2.
The client a little bit, because it looks like it's like timed out already. But now they look for the fight onto Breezy. Would already used Flash before, but he's tanky. He's difficult. They got Land through Spite, and Will's in the middle of it as well. They look for the re-engage. They've got Keel locked down, or do they flash in? Will picks it up. Still, Lens is not excited. Has not picked up that kill that he needs to. And Duoking got taken low, but Soligo is there to back him up. As Lens as well. Scary. You do not want to give up that excited Jinx stack that you can have.
Yeah, great fight, though, coming out from AoE. They're also going to be picking up the Dragon on the far side of the map as Concept solos that one out. But AoE, they wait for the Lambs of Spite to come through. They just say, hey, as soon as this goes down, we're going to be going on to Keel. He's the one that is low. Breezy, you are fine. Just stay out of the fight. You've done your job. You don't let Lens reset at all. And Wildcard showcasing at least a little bit of vulnerability in this last fight. They have been so focused on how Soligo has been setting up a lot of these picks that they weren't able to find a kill without him.
Well, and that's the big thing, that Soligo has been so important when on Lissandra for those picks, that they really do require to have Soligo there, because there is a lot of mobility and a lot of dashing around the map that AoE can do when they don't have to worry about a Soligo who can lock them down forever.
Yeah, and no crash here in the mid lane, and Soligo not able to create enough space there at all. But now we're kind of left in a spot where there's not a whole lot of objectives to really fight over. As the laning phase officially ends with the plates having fallen down, it is definitely going to be a bit of a rougher spot for AOE to kind of leverage some of the advantages that they were looking at previously. But they still have the tools, right, Alex? They still have the buy, they still have the Ahri and Darkwings, showcase some great movement in team fights in Game 1 that we have not had an opportunity to see in Game 2.
Plus, when we look at the compositions for AoE, as a composition that wants to dive and go into the backline to jump on top of Lens really effectively, you can't be behind like this. You're usually the one that is ahead at this point in the game because you're the ones who have made the proactive plays. The Wildcard being in this position just makes things a lot easier for them to slow down the pace of the game, wait it out, wait for those team fights that we know Wildcard has been so effective on throughout their entire tenure.
Yeah. And speaking of their tenure, right, it's kind of interesting to take a look at the expectations that we had for these two teams compared to what they were doing in spring, right? I mean, Wildcard was very clearly the stronger roster in spring, but this is definitely a spot where it feels as though AOE, having made a couple of adjustments, are firing back. And even with the massive leads that Wildcard built up in this game, the fact that AOE are still fighting back at this point definitely shows that they have learned a lot. The returning players from Darkwings and Lynx both had massive plays in Game 1, and we're still looking for it in the second one.
Plus, you have players that have been a part of the Challengers/Academy system for a bit, and Breezy and Concept on the team.
Yep.
With this young, hot summer kid here with Will, guy who always comes in summer and always is able to turn it on and make it difficult and competitive for everyone going up against him. Only 18 years old, even though he's had quite a long time here in Academy and Challengers. Like I said, only 18.
Yeah. It hasn't played that many splits, right? Only a couple of them coming through, but
this is his third one.
Yeah. We also have Wildcard starting up here, getting the Rift Herald. There's not going to be a contest coming through from AOE at all, and it feels as though this is a little bit closer to what I had a slight concern about with the build coming out for the AOE roster, right? All these players are individually pretty good, but the question is going to be, who is going to be the one making the proactive plays in the mid game and in the late game in order to try and put themselves ahead. In Game 1, even then, there was a lot of times that Wildcard were trying to start off the fights, and we're just kind of punished for being a little bit too aggressive. But now that Wildcard has kind of slowed down the pace a little bit, there's not as many opportunities for AoE to kind of leverage some of those advantages. Lynx isn't miles ahead in this one, and I mean, we're kind of expecting it might be Will on something like the Bai or the Wukong, where you were able to create a lot of easy teamfight opportunities, but it hasn't happened. We haven't seen AoE go for a proactive play in at least 10 minutes.
Right, and I think a lot of this game is going to be on the backs of not just Will, but actually Breezy. We've seen that the plays made so far in this game have been from Breezy. Yeah. Breezy making these calls, that dive before, setting up that Will could look for it. Unfortunately, just didn't work out perfectly, and I think it's going to be about these next picks, these next skirmishes for AoE that are led by Breezy. If they can catch out either Keel or Lens before anyone can jump back on top of them, that's going to be the play for AoE.
The Wildcard are already here first. They are going to be the ones dropping the Rift Herald. They will crash it this time around.
Hey, they should be able to take this one too. They got 4 members here, 2 marksmen as well. You tell that AoE, actually I have all 5 members because I didn't even realize that Zamuto had rotated around as well.
Yep.
Oh, that, hey, I told you it was going to be off Breezy. He was looking for that play.
You got to find Lens. That's the big thing, right? If you can take down this Jinx, Hadouken goes.
Darkwings, too far. You think you have all this escape potential, but there's too much lockdown on Wildcard for you to deal with.
And it's Saligo again going for the aggressive play on Lysandre, just locking him down. He can't be there. And now Wildcard are already setting up. They control the choke, and AoE, they should not be able to walk through this. There are still plenty of ultimates available for Wildcard. And as they cut off the choke point, Wildcard is also going to cut off the dragon stacking from AoE. They're now 3,000 gold ahead. They're not even going to lose the mid lane turret either.
Good calls there from AoE to not even try to contest. It's only the 3rd dragon. It's soul point potential that you could have gotten for yourselves. There's nothing that you really want to lose your life over and give even more of an advantage to Wildcard. So why not try to get some chip damage onto the tier 1 so that if you make a play later, you can get something, as well as deny another stack for Keel, because he's only on 2 stacks of Kindred.
Yeah. It's going to take him a while for him to actually skyrocket that through. I remember seeing that there was still some on Scuttle Crabs last I looked.
Darkwings again, but this time without having that Frozen Tomb for Saligo, does have a bit easier of a time getting out of dodge.
Yeah. Darkwings will keep themselves alive, but feels like small victories coming through in that regard. Now, one of the things that has been worth noting, right? I sat in on CLG Scrim's last split, actually, and Breezy, for all the plays that they go for, isn't actually the most vocal player. I think that's going to be something that we will have to see a lot of growth from Breezy now that they are on this AOE roster. Need to be very vocal, need to be trying to set things up, because Breezy does have a pretty good mind for the game and actually helping CLG set up a lot of the flanks, but in the CLG roster they were playing with in Spring, it was mostly Jenkins and Copy who were coordinating how a lot of those fights were actually manufactured.
That's a good point. I think that with someone like Will too, a younger player, I do know that Will is pretty vocal. Well, is he? I thought he was pretty vocal in game. He's quite out of game. I thought he was vocal
in the early games.
Okay, because I'm pretty sure he's vocal in game, but outside of game, he is very quiet. You're right. But I think that's something that they're going to have to work together on. They're both going to have to work together on being more vocal with one another on what plays they want to set up, because right now we're seeing that they haven't been able to manufacture those plays that they really have to, because they're slowly but surely falling more and more behind. 2,600 gold they find themselves at. And as Wildcard, this is perfect. They don't need anything to scale up faster. They can wait it out. They can constantly look for these plays. They got a Jinx on their team. They want the 3 items.
Yeah. But they do really want to use this opportunity, right? While Saligo is strong, you can dictate fights really heavily. Later on, it becomes a bit more of a toss-up when you actually go for some of the big actual brawls that you start seeing in the 5-on-5. So Wildcard, we have been seeing the way that Keel and Saligo have been coordinating has been really, really strong. We're seeing Saligo's a fantastic anti-flanker. Now that he's on the Lissandra, he's also a fantastic flanker. Here comes a double teleport.
Double knockup as well. Forced to use the belt away. Lynx hiding back the best he can. All 5 members of Wildcard are here as Darkwings has yet shown, but they got the damage. They've taken down the cow. Moo Cow made it into beef as the rest of Wildcard want to re-engage with low health bars on AOE. But they realize it is not going to be a good task to ask, especially when they have no vision.
Yeah, a tenacious defense coming out from AOE as Wildcard goes for another fight, and they catch it.
Has to go golden, but keep in mind, they still got Wildcard's members there ready to fight. They have so many healthy members on Wildcard, while AOE are forced to send Concept into the bot lane. They've got the root, they've got Lancer's Bite out of Keel. Saligo, that's the claw, there it is. They've lost Lamb and Wolf. That's Lens about to go excited. He's got the damage, waiting to kite this one back out, but he's got to be so careful because Darkwing is going ham. He was looking for Zamuto, has mana as well, but all the while, Concept, not a part of this one, was able to take down another structure away from Wildcard.
This is like the exact same thing that happened in the top lane, Alex, right? We saw Wildcard go for a play towards the top side turret. All the while, Concept is hitting the dragon the first time. This time, they go for a play in the mid lane. All the while, Concept is hitting turrets in the bottom lane. And it just puts AOE in a position where they are still within spitting distance of actually trying to turn this game around. We've looked at how many fights that Wildcard have gone for. The Lens has not gotten that first kill, has not gotten the resets, and is creating so many problems for the way that Wildcard wants to play.
As Wildcard, we were talking about how they're slowly but surely gaining these leads. That has been shrunk just slightly. Now back to 2,000 gold that they lured over AOE as we're getting close to another dragon spawning.
Yeah. Wildcard, they are kind of here first, but they're here a little bit early as AOE will be able to push this wave here into the mid lane and potentially even take the structure. And Wildcard, they're going to have to come in with a bit of a retake on the objective. And AOE, I mean, they have a lot of tools.
Well, they got to be careful. Wildcard looking for that fight, but they've got the pick onto Zamuto. There goes a huge engage tool gone. Wildcard realized this one as well. They are split up. It's Dual King and Saligo on one side as Darkwing. He's getting person down. They've got lead sets, but can they get Lens out of there? They can't. He's getting damaged the best he can away from them all. But unfortunately, not enough damage to even tickle Concept.
Yeah, I mean, both of the big teamfight tools as the rocket sails by, not able to stay alive for very long in the fight. Keel's ultimate just coming up right now. Zamuto getting caught off immediately in AoE. They're not necessarily doing anything super fancy, but the way that they're setting up and forcing Wildcard to come to them is looking fantastic. We were saying that we were looking at this wild card, they probably got better, but that's something where, you know, Moose Hater, he would have had a stronger flank opportunity. Zamuto is still trying to find his way to fit into the roster.
Thought that he had that angle, thought he could survive as well by getting out of there, but it was really well done by AOE. That's the conviction we were looking for this team. Think, who's going to carry? Well, if Breezy lands a hook, it seems like they're all just like dive, 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 full steam ahead.
We'll see what they can do, right? As now we turn our attention towards the top side of the map, the lead that Wildcard have built for themselves is beginning to dwindle today. As, I mean, I was expecting we're looking at a 1-1, right? Remember when Keel had 4 kills and I think 1 death? Well, he's gotten a lot more, right? He's up to 4, 4, and 4. And now we're starting to feel the far.
This could look like an angle. Saligo goes in, but he's rooted. They've got the damage. They've taken down Breezy. They've got Lens excited as well. And he's getting the damage they need to, but Will looks to re-engage the team.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
He's unchecked. They can't stop him as everyone else on Lambert's fight will get bounced out of there by Duo King so they can pick up 1 more kill. That's the fight that Wildcard needed. They have nowhere to run. Darkwings, he's getting corralled. The cow being the one to lead the shepherd to kick up an ace for Wildcard.
And you only need to do it once. You only need to get Lens excited 1 time for them to actually start taking over these fights, and they finally are able to find the fight that they needed. And now Wildcard rewarding themselves with the Baron as well. These are the tools necessary to try and open the base. And AOE, I mean, for how tenaciously they've defended so many of these positions, they finally found an opportunity. They finally found the opportunity where AOE was split. Lynx was under too much pressure and their position crumbled.
And a lot of that was off the back of Saligo and his engage on top of Duo King. Both of them working in tandem to make sure they got that first reset for Lens, and nobody could even get it on top of Lens. So like in the previous fight, even though Lens did get excited, they had kept them CC'd for a long time, so it didn't really matter. This fight, like you said, he was left unchecked.
Yeah, and it looked as though Concept might have been able to find their way to Lens, but he felt so slow when you compare that to the movement speed that Lens actually picked up. Great charm. Is it enough?
Good charm. Has flash and has double dash if he needs out of there.
All right. Well, the ult will be up by the time like anything relevant actually happens, but still, that's been a lot of opportunities that Wildcard have been really attacking Darkwing's Ahri so far. I wonder if that's a Darkwing's read or an Ahri read, because they've definitely shut down a lot of the opportunities that AoE were hoping to use that for it. As they continue to go for this press in the mid lane and the bottom lane, Darkwings now has no ultimate to get themselves out of danger.
No, it is a low cooldown. So like you said, it should be back up soon, but this turret will fall before that is even relevant.
Yeah. It's a lot of money getting picked up by Saligo and Lens here as they will continue to push, but not a lot of push coming through in the mid lane, and now Concept not going to be going for the long flank.
No, instead they're forced to bring them in towards the base because they are getting threatened at their inhibitor. And all the while, Zamuto's just like, hey, I can now be the one to escort the minions. It's my turn to siege you, Concept. You're going to struggle into me because I can poke you from range, and unless you want to fully engage, that means the rest of your team is left without their front line.
Ooh, Lynx.
Ooh,
a lot of damage. Here comes a teleport from Saligo.
Using that just so they can take down the structure. The siege will work out. That's the first structure gone. They've got excited Lens, so the rest of AoE not even looking for a fight. Understanding they cannot fight Lens. They have to forfeit 2 inhibitors for Wildcard.
Wow, what a fantastic Baron. They get the mid inner, they get the bot inner, they get both turrets, inhibitor turrets. Uh-oh, Concept. They know you're there.
They know you're there.
Run!
Get out of there. Run! That's going to be Ragnarok, and Ghost pops huge shield. Can he get back to the team? They're trying to make sure he doesn't get excited on Lens.
Oh,
They've got damage, and they've got Dual King with Saligo in the middle, and there's Lens excited. They've got the damage. They've got the shutdown. They've got Lens on Jinx, as they are all Landers fight. But guess what? Wildcard come out victorious. They lose only Zamuto, the new player, as everyone else will crumble from AoE. Lynx, he's surviving the best he can, but with the Zap connecting, the follow-up, it's an ace, and we have a tied series, Josh, 1-1 in our first day of the summer split.
Honestly, a fantastic draw from both sides, right? We saw both these teams push each other basically both games throughout the entire time. That's what we really love seeing here in the Challengers League. And I mean, I feel like we also see some very obvious things for both teams to kind of think about, right? We saw that Wildcard, even while they were ahead, need to try and find a little bit more damage to burst out those members for their AD carry to pop off. On the other hand, we got to see that AOE, they are actually been really good at setting up a lot of these opportunities to go for these team fights. It's just making sure that's consistent. And we also got to see so many other different players are willing to go for plays. We were a little bit worried about that going into the season. It looks like that's not likely to be an issue.
No, not at all. This makes me really excited when it comes to the split and how everyone is going to play. Everyone looking to fight. You know me. I like LPL, my favorite region. I like fights. I like.
LCS, what? Come on.
No,
right here.
Not enough team fights. Not enough skirmishes. Not enough level 1 shenaniganeries.
Somebody take away the sub. Take away a sub.
Or gift me a sub, or make sure you sub. You can sub as well. We have emotes. This all benefits the players. Don't forget that. Twitch Prime. Use that if you want to here on Path to LCS or LCS_Challengers. It will benefit the players. But for now, we're going to toss it to a break. We'll be back. Rafa will be here for an interview with the top laner of Wildcard, Zamuto. Make sure you stay tuned.
Welcome back, y'all. We have Zamuto on the interview desk, victorious for Wildcard, evening up the series between AOE Gold. First of all, Zamuto, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me on this interview. Nice, Karthus. Sorry you couldn't get the win in the first game, but it was pretty spicy. I know Josh mentioned, hey, what about the Aphelios top lane? You know, what was it just not the right angle? Did you prefer the Karthus into the Garen for that game specifically?
Yeah, I mean, we just practiced more with Karthus top. I thought it would be fine in the top lane, but I think we learned that. And we made a lot of mistakes that game, but we also learned that it probably isn't optimal to play with quadruple AP.
That is, yeah, something that you realize as you're like going through all the champion checkmarks. Oh, you know, Gragas looks good here, Amumu looks good here, Karthus, let's all slam it. Guys, we have AP, like there's too much here, guys. We need to calm down on the cooking. It's burnt. It's everywhere. But
it's kitchen nightmare.
Yeah, kitchen nightmare. Gordon Ramsay's about to come in and just tell us all to quit. But it's okay. You bounced back. You brought it back for Game 2 victory, evening up. So now, for those that don't know, you were in Korea for the past few months, you know, after competing on AOE Ginger Turmeric last summer. First of all, what made you want to go over to Korea and take that time to practice?
Well, I was like searching for a team for a last split. Didn't really get any offers, so Alice was really kind to extend an offer to let me stay at his place to play solo queue in Korea. So I took it. Really grateful to him.
Shout out to LS, man. And also helping out a lot of other players who I think Tenacity now is over in Korea, kind of doing something similar. Wanted to follow up on this Korea trip that you had. What was the most insightful thing that you learned about yourself as a person while boot camping over there?
Yeah, I mean, from my time in Korea, I think I really learned that I have an insanely poor work ethic, but I've been really trying to put in the effort to improve it. I've been trying to stream more, play more solo queue, just use my time more effectively. Like even out of game, I learned that, I mean, there's just so much more you could do. I mean, I used to just watch like random YouTube videos while I'm in queue. Now I like to try to review scrims and other pro players and watch what they do to learn more.
And that's totally okay. I mean, like, because as a young player, you're 19, you still have plenty of time to grow into the player that you want to see yourself become. And, you know, sometimes some people recognize it later, sometimes people recognize it sooner. But I think it's good, like, even though it's a flaw, that is something that you accept, and now you can take the first steps into, you know, improving upon it. And then that, you know, if that is the path that you want to take, you know, that's going to set you up for success in the future. So how are you kind of tackling that now that you're on this wildcard roster and you're in the Challengers League for the summer split?
Yeah, I mean, compared to 2 splits ago, I'm playing a lot more solo queue. been streaming every day. Maybe not interacting with my stream as much, but I'm streaming. I don't know.
Hey, it's one step at a time, man. One step at a time. You know, it's like when it comes to, you know, changing habits, trying to force a ton of things, it doesn't always like let it stay. But if it's just, you know, one tweak at a time and ensure you're getting that consistency, then yeah, you're gonna get there, you know, in due time. And before I let you go, Zamuto, you've been awesome. Is there anything else that you would like to share with broadcast or any of the fans that came out and supported you and the rest of Wildcard today?
Oh, I mean, I'd like to like give a shout out to my brother. I mean, he's always been like my biggest supporter, I think. I mean, I think he's like watching right now.
Hell yeah.
I really just can't believe like how lucky I am to have like a brother like him. Also shout out to all my teammates. I mean, they're insane, I think.
Hell yeah. Shout out to the Wildcard crew and shout out to Zamuto's brother. We appreciate and stand all esports family supporters here. There's so many esports dads and moms, brothers, sisters, cousins, everyone in the family. Anytime they come out and show so much love in the chat and of course on all social medias. Thank you so much, Zamuto. Best of luck on your next match. I think it'll be tomorrow. And for us, we're going to be sending it to short break. When we come back, we'll be getting ready for Supernova and Team Fish Taco. Stay tuned.